Hey, what's up everybody, it's DJ back again with another GUDS video. I appreciate y'all tuning back in. Before we get started, if you guys can go ahead and drop a like, subscribe to the channel as well, and if you don't want to miss out on any videos, make sure you hit the bell notification. For this video, I'm actually pretty excited. If you go back to my second video, I believe I did like a garden setup, and basically what I did there is I showed what my garden currently looked like along with the seeds that I had just started and the raised garden bed that I had already built, and I gave a description about how I wanted the garden to look going forward. So this video is basically just an update on that. I won't give out any kind of tips or instructions on how to plant anything. This is really just an update on what the garden looks like now and a tour of what I currently have growing. And that's everything from seeds that I recently just started to the seeds that we started months ago that have been transplanted to trees that I planted those seeds almost a year ago now. So it's basically just an update on what my garden looks like for today. And this is like the middle of May 2020. So with that being said, there's really not much more to talk about. We can go ahead and get right back into it. All right, so to start the tour off, I'll start with what's left of the greenhouse. As you can see, I took the plastic covering off. It's warm enough outside now that I don't have to worry about keeping it on, and it actually gets too hot inside of it with it on, so I went ahead and took it off. And then just kept a couple things just on the top shelves. On the left is the citrus trees that I started a while back. So outside of these two, which are orange trees, the rest of them are lemon trees. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lemon trees, and then 2 orange trees. They're doing fine in these containers right now, but I think I'm gonna transplant them into some better draining soil over the next couple weeks or so, and I think it'll be able to grow a little bit healthier and a little bit faster once I do that. But as of right now, they're doing just fine. And then on the right side, I have a couple strawberry plants. So these are the pineapple strawberries. These are the yellow looking strawberries once they actually start giving fruit. And then these are just regular strawberries. Here is a lettuce. Here's I guess a little small pot that I started some more lettuce seeds in, and the lettuce will be able to grow completely inside of this pot. Here are some more strawberries that I'll have to transplant or either give away. These are the Carolina Reaper peppers that I was germinating, and if you see, if you actually look, they're starting to it's just starting to pop out. So a couple more days in here and then they'll be good to go to transplant to a bigger pot. And then same with this one. As you can see, it's just starting to sprout. A couple more days and then I'll go ahead and transplant those into some bigger pots as well and put them fully outside. And then these pots are some beans that I started. So these are the Roma beans in here, and then these are lima beans as well. They'll sprout in the next couple days. And then this is a grapefruit seed that I'm currently germinating. So next what I'll do is I'll show the other trees that we got going. So these are the apple trees that I have so far. So 2 are Fuji apples, or the seeds came from Fuji apples, and then 2 came from Honeycrisp apples. So these are the Fujis. This is a Fuji tree, and then this is a Fuji tree, I believe. No, I'm sorry. This is a Fuji tree, and then this one is a Fuji apple tree, and then these 2 in the middle are Honeycrisp. This one right here has been really taking off. It's probably about 2 feet tall, and then the other 2 other 3 are a little bit behind it, but not too far behind it. The only issue I have been having on some of them is like some pests getting to them. As you can see, they've been eating up on the leaves. From a disease perspective, they look fine, but I just got to figure out a way to make sure I'm keeping the pest off of them, keep the insects from eating up all the leaves, like this right here. But other than that, they look like they're doing pretty fine. I'll probably have to add some type of feed to the soil. Like I said, for the most part, they're looking pretty healthy, especially this one right here. And then the next day I'll show, I got a couple more trees up front that I'll show, and then I'll move to the garden bed after that. All right, so these are some more citrus trees that I have. I just like to keep these up on the front porch. So this right here is just another lemon tree, and then this one is another orange tree. Really no difference in these except for like where I'm keeping them. Like I said, I just decided to keep these on the front porch instead of keeping them in the back, just to have them, kind of sprawled like around and decorating throughout different parts of the house. And then what I'm doing right here too, I'll show this, is in this pot I actually put some grass seed. I want to see if I can grow some grass in a pot. Never done anything like that before, so I think it'll be pretty cool if those sprout. And then I'm actually just able to grow a little bit of little grass in a pot. So I just wanted to show that real quick too. So the next thing I'll show are the garden beds. So starting out, this is one of the garden beds that I'll go into a little bit more detail about. So starting from the left hand side, this is one of the okra plants that I transplanted a couple weeks ago. Looks like it's been able to take root pretty well, and it's been growing pretty well so far. Looks really healthy to me, in my opinion. And then behind it, I planted some more okra seeds. I planted about 3 or 4 seeds right behind it. Once those sprout, I'll thin it out into one more plant. So I have 2 okra plants back to back from each other. And then here is the Kawano. I mentioned in my previous video, it's a jelly melon. The plant that I had, I don't think I took good care of it while it was in the greenhouse. So I ended up pulling it up and planted some more seeds. So those will sprout in the next couple days or so. And I think they'll do a lot better than the seeds that I kept in the greenhouse. Then right here is an eggplant that I started a few weeks back, probably about a month and a half ago. Transplanted that out here and it's taking root. These 2 leaves have grown since it's been transplanted. So I know it's been able to go ahead and get in there and get established. Right beside it is some more lettuce that I just planted. So I planted a couple lettuce seeds like right in this area. I'll thin them out once they sprout. And then right behind that is some more spinach that I planted. Same thing, once it sprouts, I'll thin it out to a workable amount so it won't be overcrowded. And then in the back, I planted a couple more celery seeds and I'll thin those out as well once they sprout. Then if we move over to the right, these are some of the plants that I transplanted a couple weeks ago. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. I'll leave a link of that in the description as well. But these are celery, so it's 4 celery plants per I guess area or per section, all for 1 row. So 1 right here, 1 right here, 3rd one, and then a 4th one right there. And then these are the lettuce that was transplanted. So same thing as 4, and then actually I transplanted the 5th one earlier this week. But so it's 1, 2 right here, 3, 4, and then if you look, it's a small one right there in the back. Transplanted that earlier this week as well. Moving over to the right again is the carrots. So it's 2 rows of carrots. Originally I planted about 10 to 12 seeds. That's what you can see clearly, like the green that's growing up, or the leaves that's growing up pretty tall is the 10 to 12 carrot seeds I planted a few weeks ago, probably about a month or so ago. And then a couple weeks after that, I planted some more that are just sprouting. As you can see, they're just coming out of the ground. I'll wait a couple more weeks and then I'll plant some more back there. But basically what that'll do is I'll harvest these. A couple weeks after that, those will be ready. And then a couple weeks after that, those will be ready. So I'll continually have carrots throughout the entire season. By the time I'm picking those, hopefully I'll be able to start this part back over as well and just have carrots kind of cycling through over the next few weeks or so. That way I can have them for the entire summer. And then one more section over to the right. As you can see, I put this little like gardening fence up as a trellis for the pea plants. These little tinsels right here, they grab onto the trellis and grow upwards, so it's not like completely overcrowded. But as you can see, if you look a little bit closer, some of the plants have already started to flower and giving off some of the peas. I'll be able to pick these and eat these pretty soon. But this one just right here has, 5 I can count right in front of my face. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then like a 5th one starting right there. And that's just one plant. So I'll be able to harvest multiple peas. I think it's about 7 plants total right here. So I'll be able to harvest multiple peas over the next couple weeks or so. So from there, this is this garden bed, and then the next I'll just show the other what's in the other garden bed. All right, so we got a lot going on this garden bed too. Just going a little closer and getting more details. So I'll kind of do it in a weird order. I don't want to do it this way for a specific reason. But starting off, these are the pepper plants that were transplanted a couple weeks ago. Got a video of that as well, so make sure you check that one out. I can also leave a link in the description about how to transplant the pepper plants. But I started these from seed and then transplanted two per plant. So this one is a bell pepper that I planted or transplanted directly into the garden bed, and then this is a bell pepper that I transplanted into a pot. As I mentioned in the previous video, I just want to see the differences between growing this in the garden bed versus growing it in the pot. If one has bigger fruit or more flavor or less flavor, just kind of want to do almost like a science experiment to see the differences. So I did that for all 3 different types of peppers. Like I said, this is the bell pepper, and then in the middle, these are the habanero peppers, and that's a habanero pepper right there as well. And then in the back is a jalapeno pepper, and then a jalapeno pepper in that pot as well. So basically 6 peppers, 3 different types, and just 2 of each. So bells, habaneros, and the jalapenos in the back. Right here, moving over some of the leafy vegetables that I have. This is spinach. It's actually one of my favorite vegetables. And with the leafy vegetables, you can harvest them as early as you want to or as late as you want to a certain degree. If you harvest them early, that's where you get like baby spinach from, or like baby lettuce. But this is, you can see clearly from the leaves that it's spinach. This is probably like a full grown size leaf. I mean, it'll get bigger. But then if you want to do like baby spinach, you might be plucking one of these right here, the smaller ones. That's a pot full of spinach. Like I showed earlier, I got some more spinach in the other bed, and I'll keep planting more spinach in pots just to have spinach throughout the entire season as well. And then here is Swiss chard, which is another leafy vegetable. I think it's like a mix between like spinach and then the beets. But these are pretty much ready to go too, or some of them are ready to go. And then I planted some more a couple weeks ago that'll continue to sprout and continue to grow. And I'll have more Swiss chard to harvest over the next few months. Behind that though is the kale. So transplanted this kale out, and then I transplanted that kale out as well. And then these, I just directly sowed those seeds into the garden bed, and I'll thin those out to probably about either 1 or 2 plants right there in the middle. And then I'll continue to plant more kale as these continue to grow and as I start harvesting them. But like I said, with the leafy vegetables, you're going to want to continue to plant those over and over and over again throughout the season. That way you're able to harvest for a long period of time and not just have one big harvest. And then in this pot is the beets. So it's multiple beets. As you can see, if you look in here, it's a lot of beetroot. They're not ready to harvest yet, probably be ready to harvest in the next 3 to 4 weeks. But to combat that and make sure that I have beets throughout the entire season, like I've mentioned previously, I went ahead and planted some more a couple weeks ago. So these, says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I planted again a couple weeks ago that'll be able to grow. And then once I harvest these, I'll fill the soil back up with some more like compost, some more nutrients, and then I'll keep planting the beets. That way I'll have beets continually throughout the entire summer. And then before I go over there, I want to move to the tomatoes real quick. So just like with the other videos, I have a video showing how to transplant tomato plants and how it's a little bit different than transplanting regular vegetables. But these are the heirloom tomato plants that I transplanted about 3 weeks ago. If you go back and look at that video, you'll be able to see how rapidly they've grown. Like I mentioned in that video too, with the tomato plants, you ideally would want to plant them as deep as possible. Pull some of the leaves off and plant the stem as deep as possible to encourage more root growth. And then once those root grows, you'll be able to see the results. Basically, like, plants are like a mirror image. So it's like what grows up top is a reflection of what's growing under the soil. So the reason that these are growing so fast is because I planted them deep and encouraged more root growth. That's why you see like a rapid growth from feeding and watering, and then extra roots growing under the ground. That's why this plant has grown so much. And same for this one, same for all of them really. They were real tiny when I transplanted them, but now they've really taken off. That's why I have these tomato cages here to make sure that they're sturdy and stable and can grow upward without having to worry about falling over or getting dirty and worry about pests crawling a lot up on them. And this is just the third heirloom tomato plant, just like the other two. And then moving around, last couple plants, these are the ones that I planted a couple weeks ago on May 2nd. So this is the zucchini, 2 zucchini plants right here. I'll keep both of those, and then I'll plant some more zucchini seeds in about 3 weeks right behind the squash seeds. But they're looking pretty healthy so far. I mean, these leaves are huge. This is the squash, same family as the zucchini, but I planted 4 of those. In about a week or so, maybe about 3 or 4 days, I'll probably cut or thin it down to about 2 plants, whichever ones are the 2 strongest. Thin it out to about 2 plants, and then I'll plant some more zucchini behind here in about 3 to 4 weeks, and then I'll plant some more squash back there in about 3 to 4 weeks. That way I'll have squash throughout the entire summer as well, zucchini and squash throughout the entire summer. And then the last plant we got is the cucumbers, one of my favorites, and one of the easiest to grow actually too. So the cucumbers, I planted 4 seeds, all 4 of them sprouted. I'll thin these out to 2 plants, and then in my previous video, I mentioned that I'll continue to plant these over the next couple weeks. So what I'll do is thin those out to about 2 plants, probably plant 4 more seeds about a foot up, and then I'll plant those in about 2 to 3 weeks, and then I'll do the same thing over and over again until I have like 6 spots where I have cucumbers growing. That way I'll start harvesting. By the time I start harvesting these original plants, all the way to the harvest, or like the last harvest of the final plant that I plant, it'll be about 2 months where I'll be able to just continually harvest cucumbers. And I'll give updates on that, how to like take care of cucumber plants, how to basically maximize your space with plants like that grow on vines. But this is what it looks like just starting off with. So I'll clip those down a little bit or thin them out, and then in the next couple weeks I'll plant some more. So over the next month or so, it'll be more and more cucumber plants and zucchini plants that are sprouting and growing up, and I'll show how to care for those as well. So yeah, this is pretty much it. This is All right, thanks for checking my video out, guys. If you have any additional questions, make sure you drop a comment or give any suggestions about anything that you want me to cover in my next upcoming videos. If you like the content in this one, make sure you drop a like. And if you don't want to miss out on any new videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification as well. Over the next couple weeks, I'll continue to give more tips and updates on how the garden is progressing. So like I say, you don't want to miss out. But until next time, guys, peace.